is this our final player review?
It is indeed. We are done with player reviews. So if you are a fan of player reviews, we have an actual tab, a playlist where you can look at all the player reviews that we have done for this season. They're all tightly packed into one little playlist. So on YouTube, of course, you hit that subscribe button and you hit the like button, and you can find all these player reviews right there. So let's get started with our last one right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure you subscribe and check out our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, as well as listening to us on all the other podcasting platforms. You can also check us out and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and shoot us an email anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. So this is the final player review that we'll do. 2022 player reviews. We're almost in 2023. And I mean, I don't know if we saved the best for last, but hopefully in the future, this will be the best for last. Wander Franco. We have yet to review his play. We're going to do that today.
I do think, like you said, maybe not the best of this year, but definitely what we hope to be the best player of this organization by that contract's end. So let's get started with the slash line first. In 344 plate appearances, he had a slash line of 277, 328, 417 slug. That's a 745 OPS. He had 6 home runs, 33 RBI, 8 stolen bags, no caught stealings, a 7.6 walk rate, 9.6 K rate, and a 116 WRC plus, which rated him at a 2.3 F WAR. So the first thing I want to mention positively about Wander Franco, tremendous runner. I mean, just that, this 8 stolen bags and then non-cut stealings. This guy knows when to run. He knows what to look for. He hasn't gotten caught yet, I think, in major league in his major league career yet. Yeah, I think he has no caught stealings yet. So he knows when to go. I love that about it. He is actually a very adept in sprint speed. I think it lowered a little bit because of the injury this year, but he was graded at a 4.0 in BSR, the base running category in Fangraphs, which makes him elite. I mean, that is just above average, above average player, 4.0. So tremendous base runner, Wander Franco is.
Yeah, not to mention the rest of his game as well, just being able to, and I think you mentioned that slash line. Is it fair to say met expectations? I mean, it's not, if we were to extrapolate that line over 162 or 150, whatever it may be, that's probably about what we would have thought or wanted from Wander Franco in his 21-year-old season. No, I mean, maybe a little bit more after signing the fat contract, but the projections seem to say that's what he was going to put up, and he more or less did that.
100%. I think his slash line is very well. It looks very good. Not even take out the health, which we'll get to in the second segment, but that's a good slash line for a 21-year-old. To do in major leagues, and he doesn't even have 162 games under his belt yet, and that's a slash line that he's putting up. But I do like the fact that you said as a 21-year-old. I think that's a very important thing, because if he's doing this slash line in, let's say, 3 years' time, that's underwhelming. That's a disappointment. But that's just what the expectations are. Where the expectations are right now, this is a very good slash line as a 21-year-old, but this should just go up from here.
Yes. And you mentioned the base running, which again, it's one of the reasons that makes him such a fun player to watch. But The strikeout percentage, I mean, under 10%. He doesn't swing and miss. We've known that about his game. He's very much in the mold of Jose Ramirez, yet he has yet to kind of foster the power that Jose Ramirez has. But I think one day, maybe not quite to Jose Ramirez's level, but I think we're going to see a lot of similarities between both of those players. And also, at least according to Savant, his max exit velocity, 85th percentile. Again, as a 21-year-old, he's still rounding into form and rounding into his strength and into his body. I think that's something to really grow and move from. Now, I know that we focus a lot on the offensive side of the game and what he can contribute from the shortstop position, but man, he made some really, really amazing defensive plays, whether it was diving to his right, whether it was diving to his left, and or making the routine play, turning a double play. But what really stood out to me was him being sometimes out of position and having to cover so much ground in shallow right field. Or shallow left field, I should say, and venturing into foul territory, like popping onto the television screen out of nowhere and making a catch. Like those are the types of things that really stand out to me about his game. And again, that makes him such a fun player to watch. And he is a multidimensional talent. And when you watch him when healthy, you can see and it's exhibited why the Rays gave him the amount of money and the amount of years that they gave him.
Certainly. I mean, he's a dynamic player. And I love that you mentioned that, covering so much ground with the shift and then going to, the visitors bullpen at the Trop.
Yeah.
Like he makes that run very, I mean, it's incredible to watch, when he makes those plays. And we've talked about this endlessly too. His at-bats are must-watch TV. Like he is so good at the box. And it's because that bat of his and the eye, the bat, the bat control, the discipline, the knowledge of the strike zone is so above average. It's unreal. And you can tell this by the O contact percentage, which is the contact percentage that you make outside of the strike zone. The MLB average player has an O contact percentage of 63.5. 63.5. Wander Franco is at 79%. If it's a ball up, or two above the strike zone, he's able to make contact with it. Outside in the dirt, he will make contact with it. That bat is just an extension of his arms. It's another part of his extremity. It's like Ichiro. Like the bat just goes wherever they want it to go. It's very free flowing. I love that about him. But I think the biggest thing that I want to highlight, and this will be my last on his play in 2022, is that he did his homework. When we talk about player reviews, we usually say this is something that we hope that they get better at. And for Wander, it was, hey, he needs to get better as a lefty hitter. And I've mentioned how during the offseason, a lot of his posts before the 22 season was him hitting from the left-hand side. And I was like, he's working on it. That was my hypothesis. And I said it so many times. Well, now we have the full season, and he did do his homework, and he improved in each aspect of the slash line as a lefty facing right-handers. I mean, his rookie season, 251 average, he bumped it to 269. The 308 on base went to 330. The slugging 388 went to 404. The OPS obviously 734 to 696. So every little thing in that slash line went up as a lefty, and I just think that speaks not only to his work ethic and dedication, but of him wanting to just be the best kind of Wander Franco that he can be.
Yeah, he almost looked as comfortable from the left side as the right side. And something that we saw a lot from the left side was, I mean, how many times did he shoot the ball the other way and garner a stand-up double? I mean, that was routine for him. And that's one of the more exciting vintage plays for Wander Franco is being able to see that, get a ball that's on the outside and just push it where it's pitched and get into scoring position just like that. So a lot of excitement for sure. Of course, we'll get into this. The bad news for him was that he only posted in 83 games. But before we get to that further, we have to tell you about betonline.net. Betonline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. You can get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to college bowl season to basketball and even the World Cup. It is all covered at betonline.net. It is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. So head over to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, it is where the game starts. So, Ulises, looking at what didn't go well for Wander Franco, I alluded to it, just 83 games played as he ventured into a couple of injuries. He had initially the quad tightness and then had the hamate fracture in his right wrist. So never good when Wander Franco's only playing 83 games.
No, that's definitely not what you expect, especially from the guy who's going to be your best player for years to come, and you want him on the field. We talked about it during the season. It did look like there was some miscommunication between the staff and Wander, because we got little leaks of like, oh, we're just telling him not to run that much, and then he would,
it's hard to calm a guy like that down who plays with a certain energy and enthusiasm, plays like that's the only way he knows how to play, is like his head's on fire.
And the problem is that his head got it too much into the game, because I think there was an Orioles game in early or mid-May where he didn't slide and it was an awkward footing, but he was thinking about that. He was thinking my hammy, my quad, my soft tissue. Like if you're already at that point, I don't know why the Rays just really, decided not to put him on the IL, weeks before that. So that was odd. But yeah, obviously the health is the number one big factor on why, this wasn't what we all thought it could be this 2022 season.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's just another thing that, not only having to deal with the media questions and the fan base questions, but it's also another thing that you're putting into a guy's head that is, for all intents and purposes, a rookie and 21 years old, that you just want him to be loose and comfortable and play his game. When you're, giving him all these directions and redirects that are they really helpful at the end of the day? Because that's almost, it can almost be a deterrent, or it can almost be a bad thing of, hey, don't play as hard. Well, that's how you get hurt even more so that way.
Yeah, no. And again, you just said it, like he's been playing that way for his entire life. So to kind of veer him off, you liked him because of that. So
yeah,
it's going to be a learning. There's going to be a learning curve. I hope that the relationship with the staff, the training team, and Wander and the coaches all get a little bit better, all get a little bit more transparent, all get a bit better, a little clearer, because I do feel like, without being in the room, we can tell that there was a little bit of disconnect there with all the leaking and information that we got for like 2 weeks, when we all saw, hey, this guy's hurt, and then 2 weeks of him playing kind of like he was hurt, and then little information dropping in every 3 days until he finally got on the IL. So I hope that gets better. But also, like, Wander has to take responsibility for that. Like,
right,
dude, if you can't run, you got to speak up. You can't just be like, no, put me in there, coach. Like, your salary is there. Your spot is there. You're not a French guy. Like, you don't have to worry like, oh man, if I go on the IL and, Taylor Waltz's head's on fire and he hits 400 for 2 weeks, I'm out of a job. Wander, you're not out of a job. You're not a French guy. So you can say, hey, I need 2 weeks off. Like, this is hurting like hell. I can't run. I can't field. You got to speak up. And I think that's going to happen with Wander. because that's also part of the maturation process, that you have to be a little bit older. You have to, kind of get a sense of when am I needed the most. And that comes with age, and that comes with a bit, a little bit more time in the bigs.
Do you have concern about the quad and the leg issues? Is this maybe not to go extreme as Kevin Kiermaier, but the way that Wander Franco plays makes him more prone to injury?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think this guy had not an injury in all of his minor league seasons. So yeah, he had a couple, soft tissue ones this year, and the handmade bone can happen to anybody. But no, I think it'd be kind of unfair to just look at this time and, hey, this guy's injury prone. Like, no, he just had an injury season. Let's hope for better things, health wise for Wander next year. But I do have one more negative. I don't know if you do too.
Well, really, the only thing I have, and maybe it's not totally fair, is there were a string throughout the games that he played where he would go into a slump. There'd be a 10, 12 game slump, and by slump, slump by Wander standards, and well, I guess legitimate slump, where you're having a 550 OPS or 620 OPS.
Yeah, he does get in runs, but I get, like you said, that comes with the territory of just being a baseball player. But I also found, he does fine with breaking balls, he does fine with fastballs. It's the off-speed pitches that are giving him some wrinkle. He's only hitting 207 and a 276 slug on off-speed. So just like last year, the homework was, hey, get better as a lefty facing righties, because you're going to be facing a whole lot more righties than lefties. Can the homework for this offseason be, let's get the off-speed down? Let's try to get better at recognizing that pitch, maybe laying off them instead of swinging through them. I think he has I haven't looked at the numbers yet of what his swing rate is with off speed. I would think that he's getting fooled. And so that's why the batting average and the slugging is not quite there. I would have to dig deeper on that, but this is just organic. Like I just feel like he was swinging through a lot of off speed, offerings.
And some of that too could just be you're trying to come back after injury and trying to get into a rhythm and not, seeing enough and not getting enough reps, because maybe it takes you 400, 500 at bats to really get comfortable. And when you're playing every day, then you can adjust to those types of pitches as well. But I'm sure that's something he will absolutely be able to get sorted out one way or another. Coming up next, we'll talk about Wander's future with the team. Yes, we are safe to assume he will be on the Rays roster in 2023, but a couple over-unders I've got for you and a couple of questions as well. But first, Ulises, we have to tell the audience about something very important.
Yes, this is our holiday season, and we need to be careful, guys. So out there, if you think that driving high is not considered driving under the influence, you're wrong. It is. Driving under the influence of marijuana is against the law in every state, even in states where marijuana is legal. That means that driving high could get you a DUI. And if you think law enforcement officers can tell when you're driving high, you're also wrong. Your friends can tell, your coworkers can tell, even your parents can tell. Everybody can tell. So what makes you think that law enforcement officers don't know when you're driving high? Driving under the influence of marijuana can slow your response time and change how you perceive time and speed. So even if you think you're fine to drive when you're high, you are not, because the bottom line is if you feel different, you drive different. So remember, drive high, get a DUI.
All right. I think it's safe to assume that Wander Franco will be on the Rays roster in 2023 and beyond. Of course, he is signed through 2032 with a 2033 team option. That is an 11-year, $182 million deal with incentives and other bonus structures built in, can be upwards of $200+ million there. But I know there's been some questions about, hey, did the Rays give him too much money? Did they make a mistake with this contract? I'm going to say no, they absolutely did not make a mistake with this contract, considering look at what Carlos Correa is getting and Fernando Tatis Jr. is getting and Francisco Lindor and Trey Turner and Corey Seager and Xander Bogaerts and Dansby Swanson. We can just keep going down the list. Shortstops, high level, mid level. You're a top 10 shortstop in baseball. You're getting, you're making it rain. I'll just put it like that.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like look at other shortstops, what they're getting in the market, and look at the production. I don't think this was a mistake, and it's not going to be a mistake unless there's like a injury thing. If Wander basically puts this slash line, which would be a disappointment, it would be, but it would still be money. It would kind of be, okay for the value of the contract. Like I don't want that to happen. Obviously, I want Wander Franco to be more than a 745 OPS guy, but I'm just saying this guy with all the health issues that he had, he was ranked 4th in Team WRC plus. He was 4th in F4. He was 1st in BSR. He was 1st in K rate. This is a guy who was hurt. And he's putting up these numbers. Like, this guy's a maniac. He's going to be fine. He's going to live out that contract way over the price, the value of the contract. Like, it's going to be peanuts, really, compared to the value that he's going to be bringing the team.
Yeah, absolutely. So just want to put that out there. Now, for 2023, going to give you some over-unders here. 140 games played for Wander.
Positivity reigns supreme. Over.
Over under 13 homers in 2023.
Over.
Over under 285 batting average.
Over.
Over under 5 WAR.
He was at 2.3 this year in 83 games. So 80 plus 80, that would be 160. So he would be.
So you're going by the F4, not the BREF, I assume.
I mean, just because I have it in front of me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. Can I say wash on that? And can I just say that he's going to be a 5 WAR player, or do you need a 5.1 or 4.9?
You can give me a 5.01, I guess.
All right, damn it. I'll go over. I'll go 5.1. But I think that's asking a lot of Wander to be a 5 WAR guy at 22. Like, I think that's a lot.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I will be very curious to see when this season ends, 2023 season, that is, if he has a higher WAR, which theoretically could happen, than the other fat paid guys, like the guys who really, really have gotten paid, like Corey Seager and Trey Turner. Like, I just want to see those comps and comparisons, because again, Wander, I didn't even look up what he's going to be making this year. I know the contract escalates, the AAV escalates, as you get more in depth into that deal, but I don't think he's making a crap ton of money this upcoming year.
I believe he will be making $2.4 million.
Not bad. Not bad at all. All right. So there is that. Yes, he's absolutely going to be on the team, and hopefully he plays. It'd be nice if he played 162. That would be delightful for sure. In the regular season, then a bunch of playoff games. I think it's time to get our red pins out, giving him a grade for the 2022 season. Again, we mentioned the WAR, we mentioned the games played, we mentioned the statistics he showcased. What are you giving him?
I can't give a guy who was first in many offensive categories, even if he only played 83 games. I mean, I have to knock him for the health because he didn't post. I'm going to give him a solid 85. Just a B.
Okay.
You did exceptionally well with the offensive production. Just gotta take you off because of the health.
I'll be a little bit nicer. I'll give him 1 point greater, 86. But yeah, solid B. Which again, for a guy of his age and to only play in the amount of games that he played, to still put up the numbers that he did is really remarkable. And again, this isn't. I think we're on the same page and in agreement that this is the start of something very, very special. Like don't sour on Wander Franco. Like, go out and get that jersey. Go out and get that jersey. Go out and get whatever Wander Franco memorabilia you can, because you're going to really value and enjoy him as a player for years to come in a Rays uniform.
100%.
So, all right, there it is. Woof, we've had a lot of player reviews, and that means we'll have other content that will have to come up. I'm sure we won't have a problem with that at all. In the meantime, thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your very first listen every day. Now make your second listen the Locked On Sports Today podcast. That is also free and available on all platforms. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you on the next episode. We don't know when that's going to be. We know that we are 3 days a week, and we will have another episode. So we'll leave it at that.
We'll see you soon. Yeah, we'll see you soon.